Push to get this farm just crack-a-lacking.
But as an ice cream man, and I did that for over 30 years, a truck seat, a van seat, whatever it was, you're sitting pretty low. And to stand up is it's like coming up from a squat. When you do that 500, 600, 700 times a day, every day, for 30 years.
Yeah, good morning guys and welcome. That first clip, Boss Hog sat there, barefaced lies, saying that he'd driven and worked that ice cream van for 30 years. Straight off the bat, lie number one. Because last week he told us all he was a restaurant manager. He's been a blackjack dealer. He's been an oil rig worker. He's got extensive farming knowledge. This man has done everything, but it's all a pack of lies. And to go along with that, this week we have seen the failure of the tilapia. However, Boss Hog is going to continue. Yes, onwards and upwards with the fat little lad. He's not giving up. He's got nowhere else to go. And what would he do without his e-begging projects? So the tilapia continues, but it will fail. And explaining his failure, of course, he's got many excuses. So I want you to listen to this absolute clown.
It was very disheartening yesterday. This is the next day. Both physically and mentally, I guess you could say. The harvest yesterday, we harvested this first net and didn't even get a box of fish out of it that were of a sellable size. Altogether 40 kilos of fish, and that is a frickin' disaster because the fish are disappearing somehow. There's really only three plausible explanations. Number one is that bird has many friends that we don't know about, and they've been getting a lot of fish. Number two is someone is coming in and netting some fish and leaving them. I don't know. I'm kind of at a crossroads here. I'm getting pretty fed up with not getting harvests. We should have got 4 boxes of fish out of this first net, and we didn't even get one.
Well, there you heard him. Fatso fails again. He should have had 4 boxes, he said, but we didn't even get one. But he will continue because, as we've already said, he's got nowhere else to go. But did you hear the excuses? He mentioned the birds again, and he also mentioned the fact that someone's coming in and netting the tilapia. Now, on his last tilapia project over 2 years ago, there was the same problem, and that tilapia project failed. I want you to listen to this clip because history is repeating itself. Listen to this clown.
There's 2 ways that the fish could have got out of that pond. Birds, or it's people netting them. I don't know why people just can't get their head around that. That people could be stealing the fish.
That clip there from 2 years ago, he was blaming the locals. And as you've already seen earlier, he was doing the same thing again. He was blaming the locals for coming along in netting the pond. He doesn't blame himself. He won't admit failure. He won't admit that he's starving those fish, and many fish in his videos have gone belly up. No, the swamp tard is full of excuses.
I'm way past doing things half-assed because we just don't have the money to do it any other way. Moving forward, you know, I'm going to take what I've learned and both from other people who have done this before and from mistakes that I have made. I'm going to apply all that wisdom, and we're going to do this right and make this tilapia venture work.
So there he is, freely admitting that he's made mistakes, but he's determined to make it work. He's determined to carry on because without it, he's got no e-begging options. And so moving on from the best foreign failure in the Philippines, Fatso has been the subject of some comments this week. Some have been defending him, some have been calling him out for exactly what he is, an absolute deadbeat. And to give you a little bit of a backstory here, Fatso was the subject in the comment section on another channel, and as I said, some of the comments defended him, some were calling him out. And what we've done is we've picked out a comment that I'm going to read out to you guys, and it is leading somewhere. So without further ado, guys, take a look at this next screenshot. So in this screenshot here, guys, left on another channel by Lucille Ball, and she was replying to another simpleton who was defending Boss Hog. So I quote, "Fending for his child." Now that's a joke. What about Blake, his firstborn son? Brian has cut his support down to nothing, less than poverty level even in the Philippines. Blake is autistic, passed on from his father, the swamp tard. Blake is almost 6 years old. He is non-verbal and goes to a special school. Brian has done nothing to support his special needs. Nada, jack shit. All this talk from him leaving a legacy for his second-born son Charlie, but not one mention of assisting Blake. Blake doesn't even have his US citizenship, so if Brian dies, Blake will not see 1 cent of his SS. It will go to Charlie, and Brian knows that, and he could care less. Brian is nothing more than a deadbeat father to his firstborn son, and he's doomed that child to live in less than a substandard existence. Shameful, to say the least. So that comment speaks for itself. It sums up this absolute swamp tard for the deadbeat daddy that he is. And you might wonder to yourself why we are paying attention to that comment. Well, the same person that made that comment also sent us this next screenshot. I want you to take a look at this, because this was sent by none other than Lucille Ball, sent to us, and here we have a conversation between Boss Hog and Marley. Marley is asking for more child support, and I quote, Boss Hog said, "Maricel sent you 4K. It's all I have this month, sorry." Replied Marley, "What? 5K is not even enough. Now it's down to 4K? Blake will have class soon, and I still haven't got him school needs. I was hoping you could at least help. Boss Hog replies, don't complain. We spent 3,255 pesos at El Chorus for food this month. So you got more than we have. Now this screenshot was sent to us by Lucille Ball, and it just shows you that her comment on that other channel is absolutely spot on. It's the truth, because she's very close to Marley. She's in contact with Marley, and she knows everything this swamp tart has done or not done. He's abandoned that young child, young Blake, doesn't have any visitation with him, begrudgingly sends 4k a month when it's supposed to be 8 to 10k pesos. This is a deadbeat. There's no other way of describing it. He's an absolute deadbeat. Abandoned that child. And he did say at one time that children are a blessing. Well, Brian, really? You can sit on your live stream and say children are a blessing, and this is how you're treating young Blake. And I might add that young Blake has special needs. Guys, this and this alone shows you the absolute low-life scumbag for what he is. An absolute deadbeat. This conversation happened 3 weeks ago, so it's quite recent, and as we all know, Boss Hog's got a land sale in the pipeline. He's purchased a new van, but he can't pay his child support. So, there you have it. There is the swamp tard, the person who sits there telling people children are a blessing. What an absolute lowlife you are. But we move on, because on his last live stream, which was last Sunday evening, Boss Hog was full of praise for El Tintin. He also gave his opinion on Dan from Blind Owl, and also on Philip, who was once his best buddy. Philip, that is, from Expat Garden and Farm. Fatso was asked the question, does he see anything of Tintin or any other expats on the island of Bohol? Listen to the swamp tard.
Philip and Beth, when Philip and Beth were kind of blind owl buddies, Philip most especially, and Dan and I have never really gotten along, and after a while Philip just drew a line in the sand and picked a side, and it wasn't my side. And honestly, the way that Philip treated me, I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. Well, I'm not going to go into it. He's lucky that he's still here in the Philippines and that he hasn't been deported. I'm not going to extrapolate on why, but he's just damn lucky that he's still here. If he is still here, I have no idea. I haven't seen or spoken to him in years. I heard that they sold their farm. I don't know. I don't keep up with what they do, and I could really care less. Dan still does his channel. Wouldn't trust him as far as I could piss on a windy day. Terrence, in my opinion, has gotten a bad rap. He's always treated me well. In my opinion, Terrence screwed the poop when he spent 2 million pesos on that raptor. Terrence isn't a scam.
So there you heard him. He couldn't trust Dan, he says, from Blind Owl Outdoors, as far as he could piss on a windy day. As far as Philip's concerned, from Philippine Garden and Farm channel, you wouldn't piss on Philip if he was on fire. He then went on to say that Terrence was not a scammer, which we all know is a barefaced lie. How Tintin arrived with $2,000 and he's now got a inland resort driving around in a Ford Raptor. This scumbag defending the indefensible. But let's go back to Philip. He mentioned that Philip was not in the Philippines. Maybe he's been deported. I can tell you that Philip is very much in the Philippines. Still got his farm along with his wife Beth and still doing quite well, but is not involved with YouTube. His wife does upload videos. So why would Bossog make a statement saying he wouldn't piss on Philip if he was on fire? Well, I'm going to show you a few clips. And these clips come from a video that Philip uploaded about 3 years ago, around about the time of the baby faith scam. And title of the video, Philippines expats, good, the bad and the ugly. There is a link in the description where you can watch the full video and it's well worth watching.
So the only advice I can give you at this point, be careful what you believe is the truth, because there may be more lies than you're willing to ever admit. I'm not saying don't contribute. I'm saying do your homework. Find out what kind of people they are. And unfortunately, you can still be fooled, and I've seen it happen here. And I'm viewing. Is there money involved? Oh my goodness, my money in my pocketbook. Do they want something from me? Scamming is an art form, I'll tell you. For psychopaths and sociopaths. And if you don't know the definition of each one, look them up, because we got both of them here.
So those clips taken from Philip's video, the good, the bad and the ugly, on the island of Bohol, round about the same time as the baby faith scam was in full swing. Now, who do you think Philip was referring to? Well, he was referring to this pair of scumbags here, a foreigner in the Philippines and a foreigner farming in the Philippines, Old Tintin and Bossog. These two scumbags, these two parasites, were called out by Philip, and that's the reason why Bossog made that statement. He wouldn't piss on Philip if he was on fire, because Philip exposed him. So guys, from the tilapia failure to the failure of Fatso to support his firstborn son Blake, to Philip exposing Tintin and Bossog, I think this video has proved once again that on the island of Bohol we have two of the biggest parasites, biggest e-begging scumbags the island has ever seen. So till the next time, bye for now.
Final push to get this farm just crack-a-lacking.